The bread you eat today would not have been considered finished food in the medieval world. We believe certain things about bread. White means clean. Soft means fresh. Long shelf life means safe. Medieval bakers believed different things. Change meant vitality. Hardening was a natural process. Sourness aided digestion. Maybe bread didn't nourish better before. Maybe it simply demanded less from the body. You don't have a root cellar. You have a refrigerator. You don't have a bread box. You have a plastic bag. 3 days ago, you bought bread. It's still soft. It still smells like nothing. It's still exactly the same. Real bread resists you after a while. Modern bread resists time instead. And when something resists time, your body has to compensate. Look at the package in your kitchen. The words sound protective, fortified, enriched, standardized, preserved. These are safety words. They suggest care. They suggest improvement. But ask different questions. Why doesn't it keep you full? Why are you hungry again in an hour? Why does your digestion feel tired? Not painful, just tired. There's something we're not saying out loud. Bread that is engineered to behave is no longer engineered to cooperate with you, with your gut, with the bacteria that actually do the work of breaking food down. Let me be clear about something. This isn't about gluten sensitivity. This isn't about allergies. This is about something quieter, something we've normalized. Modern bread doesn't make you sick. It makes you compliant. Your body adapts. It learns to process what you give it. But adaptation isn't the same as ease. Let me take you somewhere else for a moment. A stone mill. Sometime around 1340, the grain goes in whole. It comes out coarse. The flour isn't white. It's gray, sometimes brown. It has pieces in it. Bran, germ, parts we remove now. This wasn't a choice. It was the only option. But here's what happened because of it. The dough was left to sit, not for an hour, for 12 hours, sometimes 24. Room temperature, open air, wild yeasts from the environment, from hands, from wood, from air. They entered the dough. Bacteria entered too. This wasn't a recipe. This was just time. And while the dough sat there, things happened. Starches began breaking down. Proteins began unfolding. When the bread finally baked, it wasn't just cooked grain. It was predigested grain. The work your stomach would have done had already started. Fermentation didn't make bread fancy. It made bread lighter for the gut. Not lighter in calories, lighter in effort. This is the part where people romanticize. They imagine rustic loaves, wood ovens, simpler times. But that's not the point. The point is this: medieval bread required time you couldn't skip. Modern bread is designed so you can. What medieval people feared. Here's where it gets uncomfortable again. Because medieval bakers avoided something. Not mold. They knew about mold. Not spoilage. They understood that too. They avoided over-refinement. The whitest flour, bolted flour, sifted multiple times, was expensive, but it was also considered weak. There are records, guild documents, bread laws. They describe white bread as something that does not hold the body. It doesn't sustain. It doesn't anchor. Their fear wasn't about taste. It was about function. White flour was dead flour. It had been stripped. All the parts that slow digestion, that feed gut bacteria, that require your body to work, gone. What they feared, we perfected. And then we called it progress. Refinement. That's the word. It sounds elegant. It sounds like improvement. But refinement, in food, means removal. You take a grain that has fiber, oils, vitamins, minerals, and you remove everything except the starch. Pure, white, neutral, easy to store. easy to ship, easy to sell. Your body doesn't see easy. Your body sees emptiness that needs to be filled. Let me be very direct. This is not about gluten being poison. It's not. This is not about wheat being evil. It's not. This is about speed and separation and reassembly. Modern bread is made in 2 hours, sometimes less. Dough is mixed. Yeast is added, commercial yeast, isolated, bread for one thing, fast rising. Dough conditioners are added, emulsifiers, preservatives. It rises, it bakes, it cools, it's wrapped. From grain to shelf, days. Medieval bread took longer to make than it lasted. Modern bread lasts longer than it takes to make. That's not poetic. That's structural. Here's what happens in your body when you eat bread made this way. The starches, because they haven't been broken down, hit your system fast. Your blood sugar spikes. Not dangerously, not acutely, just higher than it would with slower digesting food. Your pancreas responds. Insulin floods in. The sugar gets cleared. And then, an hour later, you're hungry again. This isn't damage you can see. This is rhythmic stress. Repeated, daily, normalized. There's something else. Phytic acid. It exists in all grains. It's a storage molecule. It binds to minerals, iron, zinc, magnesium, calcium. In your gut, it holds onto them. You eat them, but you don't absorb them. Fermentation breaks down phytic acid. Long, slow fermentation. The kind that takes 12 hours. Modern bread production doesn't have 12 hours, so the phytic acid stays. You eat fortified bread, bread with minerals added back in, and your body struggles to access them. Nothing is broken. Nothing hurts. Everything just works harder. Let's talk about gluten for a moment, because this is where people get confused. Gluten is a protein. Two proteins, actually, gliadin and glutenin. They give bread structure. Medieval bread had gluten. Ancient bread had gluten. Humans have been eating gluten for 10,000 years. The difference isn't the gluten, it's what's been done to it. In long fermentation, bacteria produce enzymes. Those enzymes break down gluten proteins into smaller pieces, shorter chains, easier to digest. Your gut doesn't have to work as hard. In fast fermentation, that doesn't happen. The gluten stays intact. Long, complex chains. For most people, this isn't a problem, but it's more work. And if you eat bread every day, toast for breakfast, sandwich for lunch, bread with dinner, your digestive system is working constantly, not failing, just working. This is what I mean by slow damage. Nothing acute, nothing immediate, just a body that's always slightly behind. This isn't about enemies. I need to pause here, because this can start to sound like a war. Modern food versus your body. Industry versus health. That's not what this is. This is about awareness, about understanding what changed and why. The problem isn't bread. The problem is bread that skipped time. And time, fermentation, aging, breakdown, was never decorative. It was functional. Still find bread made the old way. Sourdough, real sourdough, not the kind with sourdough flavor. The kind that takes 16 hours to rise. The kind that uses a starter, wild yeast and bacteria kept alive over weeks, months, years. It tastes different, yes, but that's not why it's easier on your body. It's easier because the work was done before you ate it. This isn't about returning to the past. It's about recognizing what we traded away. Medieval bread had risks. Real ones. Ergot poisoning, a fungus that grows on rye in wet conditions. It caused convulsions, hallucinations, death, spoilage, contamination. Bad harvests meant bad flour. When medieval bread failed, it failed acutely. You got sick. You knew. Modern bread doesn't fail that way. It's safe from pathogens. It won't poison you. It won't make you sick tomorrow, but it does something else. It asks your body to adapt. Every day, every meal, a little more insulin, a little more digestive enzyme, a little more effort to extract nutrients that are bound up, locked away, harder to reach. One system punished mistakes, the other trains endurance. And here's the strange part. We're very good at endurance. Our bodies are extraordinary at adapting. You can eat modern bread every day for decades and never feel sick. Your body will adjust. It will cope. It will manage. But management isn't the same as thriving. And adaptation isn't the same as ease. This is the part people don't like hearing. There's no villain. There's no single ingredient to remove. There's no test that shows damage. It's just cumulative. A body working slightly harder than it needs to. 4 years. 4 decades. Let me ask you something. Why does sourdough keep you full longer? It's not magic. It's not because it's artisanal. It's because the starches have been partially broken down. They enter your bloodstream slower. Your blood sugar rises gently. No spike. No crash. No hunger signal an hour later. Your body isn't fighting the food. It's processing it. There's a difference. Here's another one. Why did old bread get hard? Staling. Retrogradation. The starch molecules, after baking, start to recrystallize. They tighten. They firm up. This is normal. Modern bread stays soft. 4 days, sometimes weeks. Why? Dough conditioners. Enzymes added during production that prevent starch from retrogradating. The bread never ages. But here's the question nobody asks. If bread doesn't age outside your body, what happens inside? What happens when you eat food that's been chemically prevented from changing? Does your gut have to work differently? Does digestion take longer? Do you absorb less? We don't have clear answers, but we do have questions we've stopped asking. Let's talk about portion size. A medieval loaf fed a family for 2 days. Bread was dense, heavy. A single slice was filling. Modern sandwich bread, you can eat 4 slices and still feel light. Not satisfied, light. Why? Because density comes from fiber, from bran, from structure. When you remove those things, you remove the feeling of fullness. So you eat more. Not because you're greedy, because the signal, "I've had enough," comes later. Your body isn't broken. The food is lighter, less anchored, less substantial. We've optimized bread for everything except satiation. Who this was built for. Here's the part that sits uncomfortably. Modern bread wasn't designed for your body. It was designed for logistics. It needed to survive shipping. It needed to last on shelves. It needed to stay soft so people would buy it. It needed to be cheap enough to mass produce. It needed to taste neutral so it wouldn't offend anyone. Every one of those goals makes sense. From a business perspective, from a distribution perspective, from an economic perspective. But none of those goals include your digestion, your gut bacteria, your long-term energy stability, your micronutrient absorption. This isn't a conspiracy. This is just design priorities. And you were never the priority. Compliance was. Your digestion was never optimized. Compliance was. Your body's ease was never the goal. Shelf stability was. And the result is bread that behaves. Bread that lasts. Bread that doesn't mold, doesn't harden, doesn't change. Bread that does exactly what the system needs it to do. And your body learned to adapt. Because that's what bodies do. They adapt. But here's the uncomfortable question. What are we adapting to? And what are we adapting away from? We're adapting to convenience, to speed, to food that asks nothing of us except consumption. We're adapting away from effort, from time, from food that requires something of us. Patience, attention, work. And maybe that's fine. Maybe that's the trade we wanted to make, but we should at least know we made it. No solutions, only recognition. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to say, stop eating bread. I'm not going to tell you to bake your own. I'm not going to give you a shopping list. Because this isn't about fixing something. This is about seeing something. Medieval bread didn't harm the body less because it was pure. It harmed the body less because it had already done part of the work. The breakdown, the fermentation, the time. Modern bread isn't poison. It's just incomplete. It arrives at your stomach still needing things that used to happen before it got there. And your body does those things. It adapts. It compensates. It manages. But management costs energy. Adaptation costs resources. And over time, those costs accumulate. Not into disease. Not into diagnosis. Into something quieter. Fatigue that feels normal. Hunger that never quite resolves. Digestion that always feels like it's working. You should know what you're asking of yourself. Every day, every meal, every slice. The bread you eat today would not have been considered finished food in the medieval world. Not because it's dangerous, but because the work wasn't done yet. And now, that work is yours.